Okay, I think I'm live now. Let me check the audio levels. Let's see how we're sounding. I'm going to be recording live. Check, 1, 2. Check. Yep, looks like it sounds perfect. Yep, so that's good. Yeah, so I'm going to be going live here in a second. Well, I am live. I'm going to start recording this next episode, or this next chapter or module, I should say, of SEO Hacks with Andrew, SEO for Beginners. Yeah, so let's open up the notes. Okay, so let me open up the tools that I will need for this module. Oh yeah. And I'll need to be in Google for this module. That working? Hello. There we go. Okay, so I've got that ready. Start recording. Welcome to SEO Hacks with Andrew. I'm Andrew Messia. This is part 3 of module 2, SEO Site Audit. Today I'm going to go over how to do an SEO site audit. There's going to be a lot of information and actionable items. Don't worry about information overload. Just get through the lesson, take notes, pause the video if you have to look something up. And like in every other lesson, at the end, I'll have specific action items for you. You'll know what they are as we go along, but I suggest that you get through the complete lesson. It's not long, but it's better to get through the complete lesson until the end, until you actually start doing these actionable items on your own website or your client's website. So let's get started. Let's do a quick recap of what we've already gone over. In Module 1, Part 1, we went over the introduction to SEO. In Module 1, Part 2, we went over keyword research. And in Part 3, we went over advanced keyword research. If you haven't gone through those modules, because maybe you're watching this video on YouTube or on another platform, I suggest that you go back to Part 1 of Module 1 and get started there if you're a beginner to SEO. I also recommend that you go to my website where you could see the entire lesson and all of the modules, plus all of the downloadable content like worksheets, action items, spreadsheets, etc. In Module 2, we went over on-page SEO in Part 1. And in Part 2, the previous video to this one, we went over on-page SEO and technical SEO. And today, we're going over how to do an SEO site audit using an audit tool. So in this video and in this lesson, we're going to start applying some of the stuff we've learned in the previous modules, in the previous parts of the modules as well. So what needs to be fixed on a website? This is the thing that we need to figure out. In order to start applying the things we've learned so far, we're going to need to find out the things that need to be fixed on our website. So the first thing I want you to do is to go to Google and type in site, and your domain name. Let me give you an example. I'll share my screen here. Let me open this up completely. So here I am at Google. I'm going to put in site, and then I'm going to put my blog, Medellin Buzz. See right here where it says there's about 249 results. It says that means that there are 249 indexed pages, or pages that Google has indexed. If you have a brand new website, this number may be smaller. This website is a couple years old, or a few years old. I haven't added a ton of content to it, but it has 249 internal pages that have been indexed by Google. Again, if you have a brand new website, this number might be 1, it might be 0, just because Google hasn't indexed it because it's so brand new. Don't worry if it is a brand new website. We're gonna go over how to have Google index your website quicker than the usual. So don't worry about that right now. Just know that this is a great way in the future for you to check on anybody's site, is to see how many internal pages the website has indexed by Google. And again, this is an estimate because it says about, but it's a good estimate. It's Google telling you that there are about 249 pages within this domain. Let's try another one. Let's try, I don't know, Facebook. I'm sure there's going to be millions. Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's 990 million results. So as you could see, you could check any website to see how many internal pages it has, and it lists them all out as you go through this. So let's go back to the camera. So now that you know how to go to Google and figure out how many pages your website has been indexed for, and you may be looking and seeing that, oh, I thought I had way more pages indexed, or maybe you have a client that you're working on right now, or maybe it's your first SEO client, you can go back to them and say, hey, you know, your competition, according to Google, has about 1,200 indexed pages, and you only have 25. In order for us to compete with them, we need to create a lot more content on your website. It doesn't mean that you need to create 1,200 pages to compete with them. It just means that you have to have amazing content to beat them, because they have 1,200 pages worth of content already on the internet indexed by Google. Google's telling you this. So you may need to step up your content game. And that's what I always tell our clients, is that when I do the competition analysis, I tell them, look, this is what the competition has. And in order for us to beat them, we have to be better than them. So one of the great things about learning how to do an SEO audit, it's not only for you to figure out what you need to fix on your website or on your client's website, but you can do an SEO audit using the tool that I'm going to show you. And there are other free tools as well to do SEO site audits on competition websites. And that's super powerful, because if you can take a deep dive into what the competitor has done to make them millions of dollars, you can take your client or your own website to that next level by either copying what they're already doing or doing what they're doing, but doing it better, adding a bonus to it. And I'll show you as we go along. Again, this is a course for beginners, so I'm not going to go deep diving into the weeds, but in future modules, I will dive a little deeper into how to do competition analysis and how to use these SEO audit tools to do so. And you'll kind of gain a sense of how to do that as we go along in this module. So let's go back to the lesson here. So Google will tell you how many pages it has indexed for your site. If you've been creating content, you should have many pages indexed already. If you've been creating a lot of content, but not many pages have been indexed with that search that we just did, or it's showing 0, we'll have to fix that. But don't worry, we'll get to that in this lesson. So a quick tip before moving on, make sure that your website only has one domain version, either the https://www.domainname.com or without the wwws. A lot of the times I've seen clients that they have two versions of the homepage that are indexed, and they're the version with the www and the version without it. Your content management system in the control panel of your hosting provider can help you resolve that, so that let's say you don't want the www to show up just because you don't like the way it looks, and that's fine. I don't like it, so I usually, for all my clients, I tell them, let's just get rid of the www. I have the www version 301 redirected to the https:// then domain name, just so that it's shorter and more concise, and so that Google knows that, hey, there's one domain name and it's the one without the www. If somebody by any chance, sees a TV commercial for my client and types in www.springboardrecovery.com, it'll redirect them to the real URL and there won't be a problem. Now let's do a site audit using Aahrefs.com. Aahrefs is a leader in search engine optimization, in data, even in courses. You could take courses for them from free. They do have a paid tool, but you could use their tool for 7 days for free. And I suggest that if you are a beginner, let's say you have a website that's new, or you have maybe a website that's old, but you are new to SEO, I suggest that you use the Aahrefs tool's free trial and use it to gain as much information about your website in order to fix it within the next month. In those 7 days, you should be able to acquire enough information about your website without having to go into the paid version. If you can afford the paid version, I highly suggest that you do so. But if you can't for some reason, you can actually just use the 7-day free trial if you have a smaller website. Now, if you're trying to run a business and you have multiple clients and you're looking to do SEO audits as an extended service for them, I highly suggest that you pay for a tool. It doesn't have to be Aahrefs.com. It could be SEMrush. It could be Moz.com. There are a few others. I'll mention some others at the end of this video, but I use Aahrefs.com because I've been using it for years now. I actually got to meet one of the owners years ago before they went big time, and they are one of my favorite tools to use for SEO site audits and other SEO tasks. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's go to Aahrefs.com. So, I'm already here. So I'm already logged in, but this will give you an option for a 7-day free trial. And on the top menu here, once you're in the free trial or in the paid version, you just type in here, or sorry, you don't need to type in anything. You can just click here on Site Audit. Actually, I'm going to show you the difference between, before I get into the site audit, I'm going to show you the difference between just seeing the website's overview. Let's use, okay, so Bellafit is a former client of mine. I still work with them. They're great friends out of Florida. They're an e-commerce site. So if I type in Bellafit in just the Site Explorer, it'll give me an overview of the website. And I can get a lot of details about the website here. But it's an overview, and it's almost like you're from the outside looking in. right? You're from the outside and you're kind of looking, and you're not even looking very deeply inside. You're just looking at a lot of the stuff from the outside. Like I can see which ones are their top pages, which is great through this regular site explorer. I can take a look at how many backlinks they have, how many unique URLs are linking to them, how many keywords they're ranking for, etc. And a bunch of other information that can help me for future modules. We'll go over some of this stuff. But I want to take a deeper dive. Let's say this is my website, and I want to figure out what's wrong with my website, or is there anything wrong that I need to fix? So here, if you're new to Aahrefs, this will be all blank for you. This will be empty. You'll have to click on new project, and it'll ask you two ways to add your project. You could either import it through a connection with Google Search Console. So if your website, and you should have Google Search Console because we went over that in a previous module, that you should have created Google Search Console already. You should have it. You should have your website in Google Search Console, and you should have Google Analytics installed. So if you have Google Search Console installed, you can import right away. And if you don't, that's okay too. You just get added bonuses with Google Search Console. I like to import it through Google Search Console whenever I can, but let's say it's a competitor, or let's say you don't have Google Search Console for some reason installed yet, and you just want to get to work on your on-page SEO to do this SEO site audit. Just click on Add Manually, buyers.com, project name. It'll create it for you, and you can change it if you want. I'll let it populate here. Takes a while for it to populate. Okay, there we go. So for don't worry about folders. Like if you have an advanced, or sorry, an upgraded, I don't even have the upgraded to Pro edition because it's like hundreds of dollars per month for large agencies that use this. And you can actually, and let's say you have a lot of projects, you can create folders for each project, but I don't need that. As you saw, I only have a handful of projects on mine. Share with everyone in Andrew Macia's workspace, manage access. Again, this is for advanced options, so you don't really need to worry about that. And you continue. Ownership is not verified. So it's asking you to verify the ownership of the website. Again, you could do that through Google Search Console. You could do that through the DNS records, uploading an HTML file to your backend, to your server, or including an HTML tag on one of the current pages within your server. But I'm not going to do any of that, and you don't need to either in order to do this. You just click continue. And then you can set the schedule as to how many times a week you want this SEO audit to run. I run mine once a week. Every week, either on Monday or Tuesday, usually in the morning. I set this to like 4 in the morning, just so that, especially for my clients that have larger sites, I don't want a robot crawling it during work hours, just because I don't want anything to be messed up on the server. Not that it would, hypothetically it could, but I just want to avoid all those problems. So I usually set it to sometime in the morning. And I do it weekly. All this stuff you can keep the same as default. Everything's very standard. And then here you go to add keywords to track. And this is really cool because if you have any content, and you've been building content, I should say, in the past, and you have pages indexed, you are already indexed for keywords. You should be already indexed for keywords, so it'll give you suggestions here. So you just click on this, and there you go. And it'll add all, you can add more. I think you could only add up to, there's a certain amount of keywords that you can add. So I'm just going to add all these here. Locations, again, if you're in the United States, keep it to the United States. And this is asking you what locations do you want to see where your keywords are ranked. So if I want to add a location, let's say Florida. Florida, I'll just keep it that way. You can, and it'll track how your keywords are doing just in Florida. And this would be pretty interesting to see, for example, for the keyword, fast buyers or fast house buyer. How are we doing in our local market of Florida compared to the entire United States? That could be very valuable for you to know. So you might want to add that depending on what type of business you have, if you have a local type business. So I'll press continue. Then you're going to add up to 10 competitors. Again, Aahrefs is pretty smart, and you may see your competitors here. If you don't, you can add them manually, but I'll just click these. I think you can only add up to 10 here. So I'll just add these first few ones, and then I'll finish. And it's loading. Here, the competitors, it's actually loading the project. There it goes. And now you can see it down here, fast home buyers. And it's already started to crawl the entire website. And this can take, depending on how big your website is, it'll take a while. So, and the good thing is that this is all on their server. There's nothing that I downloaded onto my onto my local computer. So I'm not taking up any bandwidth or CPU or memory from my computer to do this crawl. It's all on their server. They're doing it. I can even leave this. I can exit out of this page, and the crawl will persist, and then I will get an email saying that the crawl is complete, and it'll give me some data in the email, which is also a great thing that they do, because these crawls could take a while. For example, this site, this is a competitor to my new client, fasthomebuyersnow.com. So I've started to do that. I wanted to create this project live or on this video so that you could see how I create a project. So as you can see, I don't have access to their website. I don't have them on, I don't have Google Analytics for them. I don't have Google Search Console for them, or Google Search Console access for this website because it's a competitor. But I want to do an audit of their website because I want to see what they're doing that is winning or helping them win on the internet and get clients and become a multi-million-dollar company that they are, and how I can help my client, my brand new client, gain that type of traction. So let's look at a project that I have already created and that I have already crawled, and these were crawled yesterday, as you can see there on a timeline. I don't know what's wrong with this one. This one needs to be redone. Okay, so before we take a look at a site in depth, I just want to make sure that you know that the site audit, these site audits are very important, and you should be doing a site audit on your website at least once a month. If you have any type of content going up monthly, weekly, even daily, I suggest that you do a site audit on your website, on your entire site, periodically. Like I said, for my clients and my own websites, I do a site audit crawl every single week, at least once a week, so that I can stay on top of any mistakes that may be happening, any errors that can be coming up. And they do come up. Your website's not going to be at 90 or 99% health year round. If you're adding any type of content and you start to get traffic, you're going to see that there's going to be things that are going to be missed, and you want to stay on top of that and get it fixed. So once the crawl is complete, like for example these, let's go into one of these. Let's go into my blog, MedellinBuzz.com. I haven't updated this blog in a long time, and I don't really care about it that much because I monetize it, and I make, a couple $100 every month from it, from affiliate links, etc. And it does its job, so I don't need to dive deep into it. But this is actually one of the first times that I actually dive deep into the site to see what I can fix. So this is a good time to do it right on this module. So the first thing that you see right away is the health score. This is out of 100. Health score reflects the proportion of internal URLs on your site that don't have errors. So if I had a bunch of errors, this would, be a lower percentage or a lower number, and then it would say something different than excellent. So my health score is excellent, even though I haven't done really anything. I've done what I know about SEO, but I had never really done a site audit. But it looks like things are really good because it's at a 92 and it's excellent health score, but there are some errors. So let's go over the site errors. You want to look at the top issues listed in the dashboard. So as I scroll down, you don't have to worry about all this stuff right here. You could click on errors if you want here, but they're going to be listed here anyway as you scroll down. You can view all issues, and here they are. So I viewed all the issues, and let's talk about some of these issues. Obviously, the ones in red with the exclamation mark are the top priority issues that you should get resolved as soon as possible. Let's go over some of these common errors, like my errors here. It says that I have 19 pages that were crawled that have a 404, a 4xx page, or a 5xx page. This means that they're broken pages or broken links. So if I want to take a look at which ones are the ones that are broken on my website, if you have broken pages, that's not a good thing. You definitely need to fix the broken pages. So let's click into here, and it's telling me that this search, I see what's going on. I already know exactly what's going on. I've seen this before. So I created this, years ago, this blog, and I haven't updated it in like 3 years. So if you go to my blog, and this is actually a really good tip. I'm glad this came up. So a lot of people have blogs, right? Whether it's a business website, whether it's a personal website, an e-commerce website. One of the best ways to create content is to have a blog section. So in the blog, what we do a lot of the time, or a lot of people do, are they create a bunch of categories or category names. Look how many I created. This was like years ago. A bunch of categories, and sometimes on top of that, you create a bunch of tags. So when you create tags and categories, it's creating extra pages within your server, within your website. So all of these are extra pages. And I'm assuming that, for example, if I click on law, how many articles do I have categorized as law? One blog post that I wrote in 2013 under the law category. So in 2013, I was obviously not very good at search engine optimization, or I was using old tactics to rank keywords like law in Colombia, law in Medellin, etc. That was my thinking back then, I'm assuming. Can't remember exactly, but that sounds right. And this is not the right way to do it. The best way to create categories within your blog are to actually have a category page that's going to help the user. If you have a bunch of content around a ton of different categories, yeah, you should have a pretty big list. But if you have a client and he sells rain boots, and then you're going to make a blog about lifestyle, you should probably have, maybe up to 4 categories, like, for example, rain boots, a category on rain boots where you're going to talk about products. And then you're going to have a lifestyle, category where anything that has to do with lifestyle and, maybe traveling, using your rain boots for travel, for hiking, etc., lifestyle. And then you should probably have another one for parents or for kids, right? A kids category, because maybe you sell adult and kids. So maybe you're going to write content around kids using rain boots or the things that you're doing. And then maybe one for news, about your company news. But that's it. You don't need a ton of other categories, and the category pages are not going to help you rank for your keywords. It's best to use them for user experience. So as you can see, Ahrefs has found a few category pages that are broken. And these are like category search page results. Like, see, it says, sorry, this is not found. And the reason being is because it's probably tagged here. Look on the popular tags. Look how many tags I have here. That's what I'm assuming based on what I've seen from clients in the past. Some of these tags and category pages are probably broken, so it's telling me that 19 are. So the best way to remedy this is for me to go in my back end here on WordPress and organize my categories and be like, okay, we should have one category on, since I write a lot about Medellin, okay, one category on the city of Medellin. That's it. Anytime I write about, nightlife, dating, restaurants to go to, things happening in Medellin, it should just be under the Medellin category. Now, if I do write about a lot of restaurants and I do restaurant reviews, I should probably have a restaurant or food or dining category, but not all three, just one. I do play a lot of sports, and I may write about my experience playing sports here. Why not have a sports category? That makes more sense than having all this stuff. And what happens is that people will create a category each time they create a blog post. And then these categories get huge, and sometimes they become broken somehow because you either change the category, you delete the category, but the category page is linked to on another page that you created a long time ago, and that creates a broken link on your website. So you want to make sure that if you are creating categories, that they're well organized, and if you're creating tags, that they're limited and well organized. And I actually always tell my clients, and every client that I have, we don't use tags. There's no need for tags, especially if you're a drug rehab center and your sole purpose is to provide information about drug rehab on your blog, right? How it affects families, how to stay sober over the holidays. You don't need a ton of different tags. It's not going to help the navigation. For example, if I land on this web page right here, let's say even the home, and I scroll down to popular tags, like how is this helping me as a user? This is not good user experience. I'm glad I could use my blog for something useful here. So that's what the 404 pages are, the broken pages. And usually when I do a site audit for a website, there are always broken links. If they've never done a site audit, there's going to be broken links or broken pages on their website. So that's great for us as an agency because we're able to tell them, hey, you have problems and we can fix them. Here are the problems. This is what we charge to fix them. So as you can see, you can go through this list and I'll click on errors here so that it just shows me the top errors here. And let's say that you don't know what some of this is. For example, you don't know what a 404 page is. If you click on it, it tells you issue details. 404 are not found is one of the most common 4xx errors and indicates that the requested URL does not exist. Links pointing to a 404 URL to the 404 URLs are widely known as broken links. So as I mentioned before, I'm mentioning 19 URLs within my website that are broken. And I already told you where they are. I'm assuming, just by looking at this report, that they're category pages that are broken that I deleted, but they're still being mentioned and linked to within the blog. So I have to go in there and fix those 19 pages, just remove the link wherever they're being mentioned. And if I want to do so, I just click on the number here and it's telling me, look, this is the URL, which is this huge URL, and this is where it's being mentioned, right? So for example, look, sports in Medellin category. It was found on the categories page, the one that I showed you. Categories here. Sports. So it's got to be somewhere over here. Sports in Medellin. If I click on that, it's broken. So that's how it's telling me that you have a broken link on your website, a broken page, a broken link. It's both the same. But really, it's a broken link because it's going to a page that does not exist anymore. So what I need to go in do is edit this category page down, because at some point I realized that I had way too many categories, I think, in the past. I mean, this is blog. I started writing this blog in 2012, I believe. So at some point I realized, shoot, I have way too many categories. I need to reduce these, and I reduced them, but I didn't update the categories page. So some of these do not exist anymore, and the site audit is telling me, hey, you've got 19 of these, so go in there and fix them. Okay? So I'll go back here to the dashboard. So those are the errors, the error page. Let's go over a couple other popular errors. Oh, okay. So one of the big questions that I as I was doing research for this module is, how do I prioritize which broken links that I need to, which broken link, let's say that I had way more than 19. Let's say I had hundreds of them. Like, how am I going to go through 100 of them and start right now? Well, you definitely want to fix the ones that are the most important right away. So how do you do that? So if the URL is broken, for example, that sports in Medellin page that I showed you, let's say that page is broken. It doesn't exist anymore because I got rid of it and I didn't need to use it anymore. But at some point it was kind of popular, or maybe it had some backlinks to it. Maybe it had some other websites on the internet that were linking to it, but I changed the domain, or I changed the category name to just sports instead of sports in Medellin, but I never updated the URL to on the categories page. So it's a broken link. I need to figure out, like, okay, what should I do? Which one should I fix if I have hundreds of these? So what you want to do is you want to click to manage lists here. Oh, actually, yeah, here. And I want to click here. See how there's the URL is here. That's not found, right? Like the category page, and then where it was found here on this first found at. So here I want to manage columns, and I want to type in do follow. And I want to create a column there that tells me how many backlinks each URL that is broken has going to it. This is very useful in order to know which ones I should tackle first if I have a giant list of broken links for a client of mine, or even on my own websites. So there we go. Now we should have a number of do follow links. So all of these here had 2 backlinks to it. So I'm not really worried about the backlinks on these. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go in there and erase them. But let's say that for some reason, your client's page or your own website has a bunch of broken links, and some of them have, 10, 20, 30, 40, even hundreds of backlinks to a page that is broken. That's something you need to remedy immediately, because those backlinks could be helping your website increase in rank for other keywords. The more backlinks that you have to your website, the more high quality backlinks that you have to your website, the better. The more it helps it rank for keywords, the better your domain authority gets. It's just overall good to have good backlinks going to your website. So if you have a page that had 100 backlinks going to it, and you can check, these are the backlinks that, are there, and they're not spammy, they're good backlinks. You're like, oh crap, I had a bunch of backlinks to this page, and I remember I changed the URL, and now it's broken on my website. So I need to go in there, and what you could do is just click on here so that it orders them by the pages that have the most backlinks to them in a descending order. So let's say this one had 200 backlinks to it. I would go into here. I'd figure out, okay, I need to go into the categories page and change this URL, this broken URL, to the new URL that I want to point this to, or I need to do a 301 redirect to this URL, to this broken URL. So first of all, I need to go into the categories page here, and I need to change Sports in Medellin URL, or either delete it, but I don't want to just delete it. Maybe I want to have it point to the actual URL that I'm using now, which is just sports. So here I would change this URL. Instead of Sports in Medellin, I would change it to sports, because that's the page that I'm using now. And then in the back end, I want to 301 redirect this entire this entire URL. Where is it? The Sports in Medellin URL to my new URL, medellinbuzz.com/category/sports. Let's say that I had that created. And that tells Google that, hey, this Sports in Medellin doesn't exist anymore, but whenever it's called upon anywhere on the internet, those 200 links that we have out there, backlinks that we have from other websites, when someone clicks on that, it should be redirected to our sports category in this case. That way you don't lose out on all those backlinks, because if you keep this as a broken link and a broken page on your website, all those backlinks that were created in the past or that are pointing to that broken URL are no longer going to be useful for your website. They're no longer giving you what we call link juice to your website for search engine optimization ranking, or keyword ranking, I should say. So that's broken backlinks. So you definitely want to fix those. You either want to do a 301 redirect or fix them on your website. And if they do have a bunch of backlinks, you definitely want to do a 301 redirect, especially if they're valuable backlinks. Another common error that I see when I do site audits for a client. Well, before I do that, let's go back and see how this site audit that I started at the beginning of this video is doing. If it's anywhere near completed. Oh, it is completed. Fast Home Buyers. They have a 97. This is a competitor of a client. 97, that's great. So a couple other very common errors that I see on a website, other than the broken pages. Broken pages, as you can see, they only have one, which is not a big deal. But a very common error is when there are missing alt text on images. A website may have a bunch of images. For example, here on their homepage, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 images, but none of those 4 images have alt text. Alt text is the description in the metadata of the image, telling the browser, or in this case, the search engine, what this image is. So, for example, let's see what this image is on this competitor website. So it's an image of it looks like San Francisco style homes. So this image has no description, so the search engine doesn't know what it is. It just knows that it's an image, but it will never be ranked for any keywords because it doesn't have an alt text to it. And on top of that, if someone blind or someone with a disability is browsing the internet and comes upon this website, the homepage. Let's take a look at the homepage. Is coming up to this homepage. There's that image. It's in the background. There are special tools for people with disabilities to read websites, and it'll read the entire website. So for example, if this image of your logo doesn't have an alt description or alt text to it saying, this is the Fast Home Buyers logo. This is an image of the Fast Home Buyers logo, of our company logo. That's what your description should say. The description for this image should say, this is an image of townhouses in San Francisco. You could even go, it could just be that image of townhouses of San Francisco. For two reasons. One is for search engine optimization reasons. You should definitely have alt text on all of your images. And second, for disabled people browsing your website, you want them to have a great user experience too, and Google takes this as user experience. So you want to make sure that you optimize those. And it doesn't mean that since you sell homes, where are they located? Are they in San Francisco? Because this is a picture of San Francisco. Okay, so where we buy houses, nowhere in San Francisco yet. This looks like an image of San Francisco. I could be wrong, but these are very San Francisco-esque townhouses, whatever. It doesn't mean that since they're in Pennsylvania, it looks like Washington, D.C., Maryland. So I'm not going to say in the image alt text, we buy houses in Pennsylvania, Maryland, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., blah, blah. Don't do that, because that doesn't help you for search engine optimization reasons. And on top of that, it doesn't help the user that's disabled using a program to read your website. Imagine how annoying that would be. Instead of it saying this is an image, or even go even further, because most of these softwares that help people with disabilities read a website are able to know this is the hero image, because this is the hero image. The hero image on a website is this top image above the fold. This is the hero image of our website, and it is a row of townhouses with different colors. That's fine. That's good. You don't need to mention any keywords. We buy houses. You don't need to mention that. It doesn't make sense for that to be there, so you don't want that user experience to be horrible. Another common mistake that I see, and I saw it here as well, or not common mistake, common errors on site audits, when I do site audits, are not only the missing alt text on images. They have 78, so they need to go through 78 images and give them alt text. And if you don't know how to do that, if it depends on your content management system, but most people are using, for example, WordPress, or let's say Squarespace. Whenever you upload an image onto WordPress or Squarespace, they always give you an option to give it an alternate text or alternate description, and you should fill those out. And a title. You should also give it a title. And be as descriptive. You don't have to write a whole paragraph. It could just be one little sentence like I just mentioned. But that's it. Another common mistake are, for example, the titles and descriptions. Sometimes it'll be in red and it'll say missing meta description or missing title. And it'll tell you how many pages on your website don't have a title or don't have a description. So if you don't have a title or description on pages within your website, you definitely want to click on the number and go in there and add a description and a title. Furthermore, a common error are meta descriptions and titles that are either too long or too short. In this case, these are too long. So they have 20 meta descriptions. So let's go over the title, since we went over the title first on one of our first modules. So remember what the title is. The title is this right here that shows up for Google. For example, Facebook for Developers. This is their page title for developers.facebook.com. And this is the description right here. So it's telling me that we have 18 pages that have a title that is too long, and that when it comes up on Google, it's going to be cut off because it's too long. Like, look at this one's perfect because it goes all the way and then it stops right there. Doesn't get cut off. Let's see if any of these get cut off. Now, they do a good job. Let me see. We buy houses for cash today. I don't know. So here's an example of one that gets cut off. It's got the ... So these aren't very good page titles because of the fact that they get cut off. And that's not really good user experience. These are perfect. Should you sell to webuyhousesforcash.com or cash site? Yeah, so this one's perfect too. We buy houses, sell a home fast for cash. And it gets cut off there, or it doesn't get cut off. It just stops there. Those are perfect examples of titles that are well written and they fit perfectly on this search engine results page. So this one's telling me, look, this page, the FAQ page, here's the title right here. It's all this. And this is how many characters long. Remember that we want the title length to be 60 characters or, between 50 and 60 characters. This one's 79 characters. So I'm assuming that, for example, let's check it real quick. I'm not assuming. I know that if I go here and I go here, let's see what it has. Fast home buyers. So this is their entire, so on my browser, it's showing up completely. But if I were on a phone, if I were, for example, on a phone or on a smaller browser or a smaller device, I'm assuming that it would be cut off like that. See how it gets cut off? So you definitely want this to be, yeah, you want it to be able to fit to all devices. That's why we keep the 50 to 60 characters long. And if you don't know how to do that, or you don't want to be counting one character after another, you just go to meta description or meta title counter on Google. And I use this first result, which is a WebYurt. And here, you can type in your title. Let's go back here. This is their title right here. It'll whoops, it didn't copy. Copy. It's 79. Just as they told us here, it's 79 characters long. So I need to go in here and change this. FAQs. Sell your house fast for cash. We buy houses for cash. These guys are trying to do SEO by adding these keywords to all of their website. Why can't it just be frequently asked questions about selling your house fast for cash? Frequently asked questions about selling your house fast for cash. Boom. 65 exactly. I usually like to keep mine around 60, so I'd probably make this even shorter. Questions about frequently asked questions about, and you could even just go like this, dash. There we go. Frequently asked questions, selling your house fast for cash. So now, if this comes up on the web browser and I'm a user and this title comes up, it not only helps me, but the entire title comes up. Same thing for the description. So let's take a look at their descriptions, because we had some warnings here that some of them were too long. So it has 20 long descriptions. So this is their homepage. It's 186 characters long, so we definitely want to shorten that. If I were them, obviously this is a competitor, so if they're watching this video, you're welcome. Want to sell your house fast? At Fast Home Buyers, we buy houses for cash. No realtor commissions, hassle-free, more cash in your pocket. Learn more. Contact us to sell your house today. So you start, playing around with this. There we go. Contact us today. It's got everything they wanted plus the call to action, and it fits our 155. I like to keep it around 155, under 160. And this would be well optimized, and not only for user experience on search engines, but also for keywords, because it has this selling your house fast for cash, fast home buyer. There's we buy houses for cash, no realtor commission. So there's a lot of keywords here being hit, and it's a well-constructed sentence. It's not just stuffing keywords in there. So those three are the top common errors that I see in when I do a site audit for either a client or my own websites, are broken links. And this is why you want to keep doing a site crawl every week if you have a lot of content going up weekly, or at least every month, so that you're staying on top of any pages that can become broken on your website, or any pages that have titles that are too long or too short just because you weren't really thinking about it and you were just writing in the title on the back end, yet you realized, oh shoot, I wrote a title that's too long, I need to fix that. So that's meta descriptions. Let's go back to the meta descriptions and title tags. Let's go back to the overview of the report. Let's go back to the warnings. Some of these are warnings. They could be more critical, for example, if they were completely missing. Another very common error or warning that I see come up on these site audits are slow pages. So like I said before, when you check your website speed, it's going to be very hard if you're using, for example, Google Page Speed Insights, like I showed in a previous module. You can type in your website's speed here. Your website's URL. For example, these guys, fasthomebuyers.com. And I'll type it in there and I'll analyze it. But this is only going to tell me how fast the home page is, not the entire website. So you want to understand that very clearly, that when you're doing this page speed insight test on your website, this is telling you how fast your website's homepage is. So as you could see, their mobile homepage is pretty slow. It's the 34 out of 100. It takes 3.8 seconds. And remember that when we went over page speed and optimizing page speed in a previous module or in a previous part, we talked about it being under 2 seconds is what Google prefers for mobile. For desktop, they're doing great. Desktop, they have a 91, but most people are viewing websites nowadays on mobile devices, whether it's tablets or cell phones, as you can see. And as devices get even smaller, your website has to perform even better. And Google takes this into account because, again, they're very big on user experience. So one of the ways that I've been able to expand my agency and grow my agency to not only drug and alcohol rehab centers across the United States, although that's our niche and our biggest client base comes from that industry, we do have clients in other industries, and we're able to take on clients because what I do is whenever I have a site audit like this, I have a client or maybe a potential client, I'll do a site audit. It only took me a few minutes to do this site audit. Let's say these guys were a new client. They're like, oh, we're fast home buyers and we'd like to come up on Google for a bunch of keywords and we want more traffic, et cetera, et cetera. One of the first things I do is a site audit. I want to see, let's get some quick wins. These are quick wins right now. Putting the alt text in images, fixing slow pages, for adding meta descriptions and a title tag that fits. So it looks like they have a bunch of pages, but all of these are very slow. So I need to figure out why they're slow. I'm not a programmer. I know enough HTML and some PHP and CSS to be dangerous and to sell the service, but I'm not going to go in there and be able to fix this that Google is telling me to fix on their page. Not only do I not know how to do it, and it's going to take me a long time to learn and apply it. If you are new, like when I was, 15 years ago, I was learning everything and trying to apply everything. Obviously, the playing field was a lot different back then because WordPress had just become popular and it was brand new. So we were still dealing in just HTML and PHP. Now we're talking about JavaScript. We're talking about CSS. So if you're not willing to go learn all this stuff, outsource it. That's what I've been able to do. Secure the client and say, yeah, we can fix this, and we charge $50 an hour. Go find yourself a developer. What I did was I went on Upwork, even on Fiverr.com, on Facebook groups, Reddit groups, and I looked for talent, maybe from another country, but that spoke fluent English, or maybe within the United States, and said, hey, when I first started was I looked for students at the university saying, hey, what are you charging for CSS or for fixing a website's speed? And I would turn around and upsell what they were charging me. So I highly recommend that you outsource all of this. On top of that, let's say that you're not trying to become an agency, but you have a website and maybe you even have another job or you work for another company, or you're too busy running your business. Let's say your website is your pizza restaurant's website. You don't have time to be fixing this. You need to outsource it, but it's very important for it to get fixed. So you want to be dangerous enough to know, that's why you're taking this course. Like, okay, this is what needs to be fixed. I need to be faster. I need this to be under 2 seconds. That's pretty much all you need to know. And you need to tell your web developer and say, hey, we need to get this under 2 seconds. Can you do this? How much will you charge? I'll pay you 50% and then 50% when you get it done, type of thing. That's what I always tell people. So yeah, that's how you do a site audit using Aahrefs.com. It's super simple. It's very intuitive. As you can see, errors, warnings, and notices are the most important. Wow, I have 6,329 warnings on my website or on my blog. Oh, mixed content. I don't even know what that means, so let's figure it out. Mixed content occurs when initial HTML is loaded over. Oh, I understand. So I recently changed it from not having a CSL certificate, a secure website certificate, from GoDaddy, and I bought it. So it changed all of my websites HTML //medellínbuzz.com over to HTTPS instead of HTTP. It now has the S. So I think what's happening is that some of these resource files are loading as HTTP or being called upon from HTTP pages. So this is something that I understand. I'm dangerous enough to know that, oh shit, we did this. We need to fix this. I'm going to turn around and tell Jose, my programmer, and say, hey, we have 342 pages that were crawled that are being warned here. Can you go into Ahrefs and check out what these issues are and fix them ASAP? Again, this page is not a priority, but if this were a client of mine, this is exactly what I would do. I wouldn't even need to print this out. Like, for example, why would I need to print this out for my you may want to, or even export it as a CSV file or whatever, because you can. So you can export it. But I just we have a plan where he can have his own user and he can log in to this same audit and fix it. But let's say you have the free trial, whatever the case may be, you can export it and organize it as an Excel spreadsheet. I use Google Docs a lot, so I'll share it on Google Docs, and then they'll be checking off or writing comments as they fix these, whatever programmer I put on this task. So that's how you do a website audit. It's very simple. easy to understand. If you don't understand something, like I just didn't understand that, you could just click on it and it'll tell you what it is. And then you could go fix it or have someone fix it for you. Let me give you a couple of websites where you can get this website audit done. Again, for a free trial or even cheaper than Aahrefs. Aahrefs.com, I think, is like $150 a month or so, which could be very expensive for someone that is just starting out. So let's go to a cheaper version that is still good. And I like this. I like this website. I've used it. I don't have an affiliate there yet, so I'm not going to give you a link so that I can make money on it. Or I just applied for it. But I'm not going to do that because I want everything to be free, and I don't want you to be thinking that I'm trying to, move you to this URL to use ShineRanker so that I can make money on you or make commission on your purchase. I don't need to do that, and I want you to know that this is a good tool, and I actually know the owner of this tool. He's done a great job. They've got a 10-day free trial, and there's no credit card. You don't need to input a credit card to do the free trial. I think I'm still on my free trial. Let me see. And you can also do a site. Yeah, look at that. I never inputted any credit card information, and I still have my 7-day free trial. And I can take a look here. And I could see like Shine Audit. Let me see if I enter it here. It's very similar to Aahrefs. All of these websites are very similar in nature, for doing this. So take a look at that. It tells me it's doing the audit. Obviously, there's a lot of pages within it, but again, it'll tell me page by page what is wrong. If there's anything that needs to be fixed. This is a very large file, as you could see. Look, it doesn't have an H1 title. That's huge. I need to go in there and fix that. So these are common mistakes. So this is a client of ours, and the home page doesn't have an H1 title. Well, at least this because this could be wrong. I know that if this were a brand new client, I'd be telling them, whoa, you have a severe, problem, because a lot of these pages don't have H1 titles, but they actually do have H1 titles. We just designated crawlers or bots other than Google, Bing, Yahoo to be able to crawl the website. For security reasons, we don't want competition to do what I do and crawl the entire website and see things on their website. So the entire website won't be crawled. Some of this stuff will be crawled. Whatever the crawler can crawl, it'll crawl, but that's why I use Aahrefs, because Aahrefs will bypass that block that we have where we've enabled it. But like if I put in any other website that doesn't have some sort of bot blocker security on it, I'll be able to see everything. So, and this is a lot cheaper than Aahrefs because it's a newer tool and he's a newer entrepreneur in the space, but it's a great tool. ShineRanker is good. And another one that's cheaper than Aahrefs but also good is Ubersuggest. Ubersuggest.com. And here's the pricing for that. He also has a free trial, but I'll just go to the pricing page. So $12 per month. That's doable. Even if you're new, to have a tool that can do an entire website audit on top of other things. Neil Patel's Ubersuggest is really good for $12 a month. I think ShineRanker comes at like $20 to $25 a month, and they're both very similar. Neil Patel, again, has been a leader in the SEO world for years now. He's worked with massive companies. He's one of my mentors. I learn a lot of stuff. Actually, my course that I'm doing right now is based on his beginner course. I go in a little bit more depth because he does have paid training and stuff and mentoring. So he doesn't give away a lot of information. I try to go in deeper just because that's what he suggests. If you're giving away information, give it all away. And I think he's just too big to be, giving away everything because he doesn't need to, doesn't have time. And he wants people to learn enough quickly so that either you can hire him or use his tools and pay for the tools. Because if you take his courses, they'll always suggest the course will be based on using his tool, and eventually your free trial is going to run out. Then you're going to have to pay for the tool. So he's giving free information so that you can get paid, which there's nothing wrong with that. But that could be the reason why he gives less information than what I'm giving you right now. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments of the video or write me directly on my webpage. If you're watching this on the webpage module, on my website's module webpage. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to my website. It's in the description below where you could see the entire course, and it's free. And on top of that, your actionable task. And now it's time for you to go into one of these tools, get the free trial to start with, and start doing your website audit and start exporting those critical tasks onto spreadsheets and putting them on Google Documents like I like to do, or on OneDrive, or wherever you like to share documents, so that you can also outsource the work to other people in the future or immediately if you have the budget to do so. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Okay, so that was a total of about 45 minutes. Okay, good. So I'm going to end the stream here, and I'm going to play video games. It's like all I want to do in life is play video. I wish I could just become a millionaire playing video games like some of these kids. If I would have started when I was 15 years old, damn it. Parents never wanted me to play video games. So yeah, so I'm doing a stream every single day, whether it's me playing video games after working or doing a video about a motivational speech, or in this case, a module. For example, the next module is module 3. It's going to be 7 modules, about 7 weeks to get through this whole course. But after you're done with this course, you should have seen traction on your website's SEO, keyword rankings, organic traffic. If you already have existing organic traffic, you should be getting more, and maybe not more quantity, but maybe more targeted traffic that will result in sales or conversions of some sort in the future. I've been doing this for 15 years now, and I've owned an agency for about 8 years now, and we cater to drug and alcohol rehab centers, particularly for over 6 years now. And this is what I do every single day. I wake up in the morning and I open up Aahrefs every single day. I will open up Google Analytics every single day. I'm doing some sort of search engine optimization every single day of my working life. And it's something that I love to do because at first, it was frustrating. I have to admit, search engine optimization at the beginning was very frustrating because of the fact that it is very slow and go. Search engine optimization and organic traffic, especially if you have clients that are small, because I started out small, 15 years ago when I started doing digital marketing, and then 10 years ago when I first got to Colombia. I started small. I started with very small mom and pop type businesses or local businesses, like a lady that was a personal instructor, another lady that was a hairdresser, another lady that was a realtor, etc. So I had a bunch of small clients. But it was hard to get traction because their budget was like no more than $500 a month. So if you don't have someone dedicating every day to writing content, you're not going to compete with some of these bigger personal trainers, real estate companies, etc. So it was frustrating at first because I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought, man, I can't get any traction or any clients to your website because it's so hard. And then slowly but surely I started to get better, and then I started to realize, like, okay, we need to write content. Let's outsource some of this content, then I can edit it. So I was working overtime. I was working way underpaid, but we were able to create a lot of content, optimize that content, optimize their pages, their websites, get backlinks. And these $500 clients eventually turned into $1,000 clients, $2,000 clients, 5,000, 10,000, to where now we easily have clients that pay us $80,000 a month with just knowing that we're going to be able to get them more traffic and more conversions. For them, that's the bottom line. A lot of these big clients that will pay, $50,000, $10,000 even, there's a board of directors that they'll have to report to a lot of the time, or partners that they have to report to. And maybe you're dealing with just one person and not everybody knows you. So you have to be able to do a great job and perform very well in order for them to be like, yeah, we like these guys and they're killing it, so let's keep paying them. Or to, let's find another company to do an audit on our SEO and see how they're doing, because that's happened. And every time that's happened, the client has turned around and said, they said that you guys are doing an awesome job. On top of that, on 2 occasions, they said they want to know if you'd like to partner to do backlink building for them, because they can't find a solution like what we're doing. So that's the best compliment that you could ever get, but it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and time. It takes time in order to create this. But if you keep at it, if you keep working and you keep learning and you keep building, that's what it is. On the internet, it's about building content, creating content, whether it's videos, images, written content, etc. You will win eventually, because not everybody's doing it every single day like you are. That's why I do a video every single day, a live stream every single day, because I've been doing this for 15 years. I know that if I do a video every single day for a year, I'll at the very least have 1,000 followers, and those 1,000 followers can amount to them, being paid, an extra $1,000 a month or more. So I know it's going to become an extra stream of income. But that's the whole point of this, is that as you're doing search engine optimization, let's say that you have a small website or you're just barely getting into it and you'd like to get clients, that you're going to have to give more than you receive at the beginning, because that's almost the nature of SEO. You have to give Google more than what it gives you back. You have to give them a ton of content, and then you're going to see what sticks and optimize that and get rid of the shit that doesn't work. I always allude to that metaphor when I'm doing something in business. I just throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see what sticks. Yeah, because any piece of shit can become the shit. And I'm going to become the shit at this, by the time this is all over. So I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I'm doing one every single day. I'm going to cut this one, and then I'm going to get on and play Fortnite with my brother, and then FIFA later. And I got to go to bed early